The Code of Hammurabi was a collection of 282 laws, written in c. 1754 BCE in Babylon, which focused on contracts and family relationships, featuring a presumption of innocence and the presentation of evidence. The Code of Hammurabi is one of the oldest deciphered writings of length in the world, and features a code of law from ancient Babylon in Mesopotamia. Written in about 1754 BCE by the sixth king of Babylon, Hammurabi, the code was written on stone, steel and clay tablets. It consisted of 282 laws, with punishments that varied based on social status, slaves, free men, and property owners. It is most famous for the an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, lex talionis, form of punishment. Other forms of codes of law had been in existence in the region around this time, including the Code of Ur-Nammu, king of Ur, c. 2050 BCE, the laws of Eshnunna, c. 1930 BCE, and the Codex of Lipitishtar of Isin, c. 1870 BCE. The laws were arranged in groups, so that citizens could easily read what was required of them. Some have seen the code as an early form of constitutional government, and as an early form of the presumption of innocence, and the ability to present evidence in one's case. Intent was often recognized and affected punishment, with neglect severely punished. Some of the provisions may have been codification of Hammurabi's decisions, for the purpose of self-glorification. Nevertheless, the code was studied, copied, and used as a model for legal reasoning for at least 1,500 years after. The prologue of the code features Hammurabi stating that he wants to make justice visible in the land, to destroy the wicked person and the evildoer, that the strong might not injure the weak. Major laws covered in the code include slander, trade, slavery, the duties of workers, theft, liability, and divorce. Nearly half of the code focused on contracts, such as wages to be paid, terms of transactions, and liability in case of property damage. A third of the code focused on household and family issues, including inheritance, divorce, paternity, and sexual behavior. One section establishes that a judge who incorrectly decides an issue may be removed from his position permanently. A few sections address military service. One of the most well-known sections of the code was Law number 196, if a man destroy the eye of another man, they shall destroy his eye. If one break a man's bone, they shall break his bone. If one destroy the eye of a freeman or break the bone of a freeman, he shall pay 1 gold mina. If one destroy the eye of a man's slave or break a bone of a man's slave, he shall pay 1/2 his price. Under Hammurabi's reign, there were 3 social classes. The Amilu was originally an elite person with full civil rights, whose birth, marriage, and death were recorded. Although he had certain privileges, he also was liable for harsher punishment and higher fines. The king and his court, high officials, professionals, and craftsmen belonged to this group. The Mushkenu was a free man who may have been landless. He was required to accept monetary compensation, paid smaller fines, and lived in a separate section of the city. The Ardu was a slave whose master paid for his upkeep, but also took his compensation. Ardu could own property and other slaves, and could purchase his own freedom. Women entered into marriage through a contract arranged by her family. She came with a dowry, and the gifts given by the groom to the bride also came with her. Divorce was up to the husband, but after divorce he then had to restore the dowry and provide her with an income, and any children came under the woman's custody. However, if the woman was considered a bad wife, she might be sent away, or made a slave in the husband's house. If a wife brought action against her husband for cruelty and neglect, she could have a legal separation if the case was proved. Otherwise, she might be drowned as punishment. Adultery was punished with drowning of both parties, unless a husband was willing to pardon his wife. Archaeologists, including Egyptologist Gustav Jaquire, discovered the code in 1901 at the ancient site of Susa in Khuzestan. A translation was published in 1902 by Jean-Vincent Scheil. A basalt stele containing the code in cuneiform script inscribed in the Akkadian language is currently on display in the Louvre, in Paris, France. Replicas are located at other museums throughout the world. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to check out other tracks as well. Show your love by hitting the subscribe button and do like, comment and share, to spread knowledge. See you next time. Till then, keep learning for fun.